Howdy Earthlings! Recently, one of the Creatures of Scenaria devs emailed me asking me to check out their game, Warden. Warden is a delver, so it makes sense that they'd ask me for some critique, since that's what I do here. I've played Creatures of Scenaria before, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's not really my game though, but it had a lot more depth than I expected. Before I talk about Warden though, the dev did ask me to play the game, but they didn't offer compensation, early access, or any money or rewards for playing. My experience is no different than a first-time player's, and since this isn't sponsored, you can trust that you'll get my real honest opinion of the game. Also, before we start, after playing this game for an extended period of time, my positive opinions have changed a bit. I do still agree with my initial positive opinions, but at the end you're going to see a bit more negative. Devs, if you're here for criticism, you're going to see it at the end. Anyway, off the bat, when starting the game, we're given one character. Unlike others in this genre, we don't get a choice of boy or girl option. We get Milo. Milo has 3 hearts, which means this is a 3-hit game. I'm not really a fan of such a low health pool. It restricts the game because you can't customize enemy damage beyond 1 heart, 2 heart, or 1-shot damage. This means that yes, every enemy is a much more serious threat, but it gives them less options for range since even the minimum 1 heart is pretty devastating. Milo has 3 out of 5 stars in speed, stamina, stealth, skill, and damage. Damage is an interesting addition since there isn't an extract value like in other games. So before I even get into a round, I can assume that our machine will instead be reskinned as monsters. I don't expect them to be much different than other machines than the reskin. Last of all, Milo has the skill morale boost where they buff everyone within its range with a 25% boost to damage, stamina regen, and flat stealth boost of 35. It lasts 20 seconds. Before playing, this seems like a pretty strong first character. They're an all-rounder and have a buff, but they don't seem very interesting. But the interesting thing about each character is that it has a class which defines their archetype out of the gate. By acknowledging the existence of archetypes, you can more easily support their development across the board. Having even a loosely defined role is a good thing. Last of all, for characters, we have a mastery system. This is one of the things I've suggested in just about every game. Toon's Universe had it, but it was very shallow, only unlocking currency and emblems. In Warden, we get more like gacha capsules, abilities, currency, skins, and more. The final rewards are even a skin, so you can show other players that you maxed your character. This all sounds pretty familiar. I think I've suggested all of these to prior games. Considering one of the devs emailed me, I think it's possible that they actually do watch my videos and have implemented some of my suggestions before even playing. This is an excellent start considering I haven't even touched on gameplay, so I'm pretty optimistic for that. Now, for other characters, to unlock them you need challenges and currency. The challenges can be pinned, making it very easy to target a specific character. It does look like there is a form of research in this game. Research is usually one of the worst mechanics that you can do to unlock a character just because it takes forever and it's tied to RNG. So it takes something that takes forever and multiplies that time by RNG. I'll also avoid going too much over the challenges because it looks like it can spoil mechanics for me. But we have 12 characters to start, and one of them is named Sera. Close enough, everybody, I'm in the game. A lot of the designs are blacked out, but from the profile pictures I can tell already that the game nails unique design. The silhouettes are also unique, which will make identifying them easier. I can definitely see why this game and Sonaria are popular with my audience. Since half of you are furries, these characters look like OCs that you might make. We also have daily quests, community quests, and friend recruitment, and that's a lot to do. I'm surprised just how much there is here at launch. Having daily quests from the get-go will definitely help with the grind. Lobbies cap out at 8, which is a little bit below the average. Personally, I think this is too many for one of these kinds of games and can undermine the horror aspects, but I get that this is a Roblox game and there are certain expectations with these games, and one of them is high lobby counts. After playing just the first floor, there is a lot to talk about. The lobby and stage design is beautiful, the game is just very pleasant to look at, a significant improvement over the 20 different kinds of basement that you can see in DW. Warden also has excellent controller support from the start. Not only is all of the items mapped to the D-pad, which is how I would do it, because that's where it makes the most sense, but also so is your first ability, and if you hold RB and press a direction, it shows the info on how these things work. So it has the best of both the PC world and the console world. Items on the floor are plentiful and stage traversal is enjoyable enough. You move smoothly with good animations and you can even jump, which adds the potential for a lot of verticality in stage design. Too bad they don't really use it. A big reason why DW maps were so boring is that they lack verticality, they're just flat floors. But we have stage pieces that we can hide behind or jump over. This also opens the potential for more interesting character design. In the lobby we have an AFK zone, shop, and a spot to revive dead teammates. We can even mess with our loadouts from the lobby and see a preview of what kind kind of challenges will happen on future floors. Once we actually play, the goal is to just interact with the game's machines, which are monsters called infections that just sit there. You interact and your damage stat will tick down its health. Then checks pop up. During the tutorial, the game won't let you fail a check and will pause if you're about to. This is great for a tutorial. It's probably the best tutorial for a Delver yet. The animations on the skill check and aesthetic of them are also really cool. Running from enemies is about what you'd expect from this genre though. They see you, they chase you, you break line of sight to end the chase. I will say that an enemy dealing damage to you isn't always super noticeable. They should do more to make it obvious that you've been hit. But getting hit isn't the end of the world because, as I've said, the items are plentiful. There's heals, stamina regen, scouting items to find an infection, which are all awesome and instantly improve the speed of the game, currency, and they're all over the place. There's enough for everybody. There's also burrows you can interact with to get to the other side of walls to help with breaking chases. These can also be dangerous as you don't know what's on the other side until you use it, and a teammate can't use a burrow if you just recently used one. The bad guys themselves are reskins of playables, which is a little boring, but it's pretty common in this genre now. But we all know why they don't use new original creatures or designs for the bad guys, is because it's too much work. But based on what we've seen here already, this team doesn't mind putting in the work where it matters. I haven't gotten far, but this is probably the best execution of the game in this genre that I've seen yet. It's more roguelike than even Dolly's Factories was, and feels way more like a game than a lot in this genre do. This team clearly understands this genre and what makes it good. They're also very good at identifying the worst parts of a genre and improving or removing them. These games aren't really horror games, and hanging on to these origins is more holding your game back than anything. So I personally appreciate the bright designs in Warden. The maps, as you've seen, are gorgeous. I really like the little details like the cave paintings. I will say though that the map designs are a little hard to learn and could use more obvious landmarks and a little less clutter to help with finding your way and for callouts. The game also features a lot of nice smaller features. In general, the stage scales with player count pretty well. The stages are faster than other games, meaning longer runs or more runs in a day, something that every game in this genre struggles with. The revive system also accounts for solo players, and you get bonus mushrooms, the currency for your progress at the end, and random loot rewards. Shrooms being the currency is also just pandering to me. Mushrooms are awesome. There's some stuff to even mix up the gameplay like floor events and puzzles. Will say I'm not a big fan of the tablet puzzle. You need to interact with these tablets and drag them to the statue. If you sprint, you drop the tablet. So this greatly slows down the floors when you can usually finish them very quickly. The puzzles are optional, but if you want max rewards, you're going to do them. There are good ones though, like checkpoint races, and those are fun. But even the smallest things we might take for granted are working here, like a ready button that skips the lobby timer, an AFK zone to pause that timer, the revive system working for solo players, and even something as simple as just walking away from machines are here from the beginning. It's amazing just how much is here. I had heard that this game was pretty bare bones when it came out, but this is a pretty different game than what I had heard about. Anyway, the shutting down of Dolly's Factory's development had me seriously down about these kinds of games, but Warden is actually really cool and has me excited for games like this again. I'm surprised that barely anyone has mentioned this to me. It's been out for almost a month according to Google, but yeah, I can see why people might write it off. It'd be very easy to think of Warden as a cash grab, just another Delver, because it kinda is, and we just have too many Delvers right now. But if you just play with Warden a little bit and see the care and effort that they put in along with the improvements for the genre, it's kind of great. You can tell immediately that the team knows what they're doing and that this is a game that they care about. Danny's World feels like a beta for this concept, while Warden feels a little more complete. Now, time for that negative. Games like this protect themselves from criticism by drip feeding you content. It takes a long time to get good, far, and unlock the characters. Every fan will give you the same response. It gets good if you play it long enough. Yeah, and most diseases go away if you wait long enough, but I don't want to sit there and suffer through it. Warden has a few big problems with it, and a couple of them are a big tip-off that they probably actually haven't seen my videos on other Delvers, because the earliest occurring problem is that we only get one character to start with, Milo. This is a problem because if you have only one character, it has to be a very good character. They are Atlas holding up the beginning of the game. And, well, Milo isn't good. Milo is a very boring character who has just a buff, and it's as simple as press the button and it activates. There is no flavor, and it doesn't do anything mechanically interesting or different. This is a incredibly boring first character. Had there been a second character, it could relieve some of the pressure Milo would have had on them. This is made worse by another issue with the game. Unlocking characters takes a long time. Sort of. The next character you unlock, Valus, has very easy challenges and a low cost, but has one big no-no flaw. The final unlock requirement is tied to Dun 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 dun. RNG. How quickly you unlock the second character is based on getting and surviving a stage event. You have no control over whether you get this event in a run, and some days have more runs being more common than others, so it depends on the day of the week too. So the second character you unlock could potentially never unlock if the random number generator decides to not give it to you. This is the issue Toon's Universe had during its pre-release. The second to unlock character, Tipo, was locked in a similar way, and I did complain about it in my first video on TU. If your second to unlock character is locked behind RNG, then it is not the second to unlock character. This means a player could be stuck playing an unfun character like Milo. Sorry Milo, you suck. Get well soon, bud. But yeah, you could be stuck with Milo for longer than you should, and that will make people quit. Third issue, the boss fight stage is terrible. It functions like most stages where you interact with the infections, but there are meteors and landmines that spawn, and they can spawn directly on the objective. While playing, I was stuck staring at the final infection for 3 minutes because it kept spawning trip mines on it. These mines, when fully activated, will make the big bad boss spawn on top of it. This is just terrible gameplay and horrible boss design. This just needs to be redone. Maybe I'm terrible at the game, but even if I am, this just isn't fun game design. Who thought this was acceptable gameplay? Because this just sucks. Anyone who encounters this is going to die or quit the game from boredom. You might be able to walk away and get the eyes to spawn somewhere else, but once you're back on the infection, it'll just spawn there again. So that means constant running back and forth, which, spoiler, also not fun. Last of all, you think I'd have issues with the monetizations? Not really. This company has 70 employees and offers them medical and dental. If they have to monetize like this to keep these peeps chompers intact, then I say we let them. Don't blame them, blame capitalism. Although, I will say that every single character having the same selection of skins is very lazy. It feels like you care more about the monetization and making money, so you padded out the game with a bunch of the samey patterns and skins, and yeah, that sucks. The game is just padded out with a bunch of bullcrap, just a bunch of little garbage. So, on one end, it makes the big rewards feel worthwhile. On the other, it's just, yay, I got generic crap number 3. And the stage design really is a problem. The stage design, everything looks the same, and it's over-cluttered and messy, and since there's a lack of a map, it's hard to identify where things are, and it's going to take a long time for new players to learn the maps, and callouts are going to be difficult because there just really isn't that many landmarks that you can use. The stage also is kind of boring because it lacks verticality. You've got jumping. There's no reason that your stages should be essentially perfectly flat. But that's it though. But I think these issues are egregious enough that I think not fixing them is going to harm the game. It's going to greatly negatively impact player retention, which means them spending less money. So there's the bottom line for you devs. Fix these handful of issues or you're going to hemorrhage players in the future, which means hemorrhaging money. Thanks for watching, and thanks to the patrons and members on YouTube like Gezro, Asteria, Nebazi, Aspirant Artist, Paper, Fay Penguin, Momentary Unicorn, Nat, Marius, Warm Syrup, Rask Beef, Vaderson, Linky, Corva Bloodwed, Splackjack, Ilwez, Alter Ego, Rask again, Nightmare Wuna, Freya Games, Addy14, Willie Pete, TG Dante 29, Linky again, and Malding Brick. I'll see you all later. I'm a month late to this one, so I have some catching up to do.